Hello and welcome to the Route 1 Show live on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. We're here to talk about Leeds United versus Chelsea. I'm Stephen Brown. I'm delighted to say joining me is Jason Booker. Jason, I was going to say, how are you doing? But yeah, there you go.
Here we are again, my friend.
Here we are again. Full disclosure, I didn't see the first half. Literally got back and I think we conceded not long after.
It's your fault, Brown.
I think it might be. I didn't manage to watch Southampton game last week. We won for the first time in months in the Premier League, and then managed to catch the second half when we concede. Let's kind of start from the beginning. Then you saw the team sheet. What did you make of it? Were you happy with the team?
I was actually. When we were speaking last week, I said about I wouldn't be against Nonto having a rest, having a spell out the team. He's 18, 19, whatever he is now, and he's had to deal with the pressure of being the main man for us in a relegation battle, not winning games week in, week out, and he's had to carry the can of then being doubled up on, being trebled up on. I thought it made sense. Pat out, shock horror, injured again, and I mean, I were down for him not starting anyway. So it were an easy choice, and I guess for Gracia to make. Yes, I was happy with Rutter starting up there after his performance the other day. I understood Brendan coming in for Rocker. It wouldn't have been what I would have done, but I understood it, and I thought we had some success with it as well. So yeah, I have to say it was Webe back. That partnership of Cock and Webe at the back has been strong and has been what's I think we're building some of the positives on at the moment. But yeah, so overall I was happy with the lineup. Yeah,
I mean, following it from social media, it seemed like we were heavily under the cosh for certainly the first 30 minutes. I think Somerville was said to be having a shocker. That's what I kept seeing, but obviously it turned around for him after that. But just how difficult was that opening spell for Leeds? Or did you think it was just a case of them settling in?
Yeah, I think that's a bit harsh. Like, yeah, they had a couple of good opportunities. They're going to make the run in early, first 10, 15 minutes. They're at home. They're under a lot of pressure. They get an early goal. It changes, the whole flow of the game for them, doesn't it? They can control the game in a completely different manner than if it's still 0-0. They're still having to force the action. So, yeah, I thought we did all right. They had one really good chance that Felix kind of ran onto, hit first time on a kind of a half volley. It was bouncing a little bit still and didn't really make it that easy for him. And Felix hit a really good strike and he was unlucky not to score, so be fair, come back off the bar. But apart from that, Fofana had another pretty much the carbon copy of the goal. Fofana had that again in the first half and put a bit too much on it and put it over. But apart from that, I thought we grew into the game really well. He looked to hit him on the break. There were a couple of moments where, again, if the final decision had just been a little bit better, would have ended up getting in on goal or creating a good chance, and we just couldn't quite put it together. But as the half wore on, you could feel the crowd starting to build and the tension starting to build, and we actually finished the half dominating the possession. We pushed them right out. They were starting to sit back. We were holding the ball in and around midfield. We didn't look scared to string a few passes together. I thought it was a good away performance first half. Like Chelsea, they're in a bad place at the moment, but they have still got bags and bags of talent. If they had a number 9 that could bang away goals, I don't think they'd be in this position that they're in anyway. If they had a Drogba or an Anelka or somebody of the past like that in Chelsea mould, Aubameyang obviously ain't being fancied there, so they just look a little bit like us. They look a little bit toothless.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into the second half, then I caught it from about 50 minutes onwards, and frustrating goal to concede. I mean, it's a corner, and they've not carved us open to get the goal or anything like that. It's a corner. I mean, who's to blame? Is it just an unbelievable header from Fofana, a great leap, or Meslier? What's Meslier up to with that one?
The thing is, McKenna gets caught on the first one that Fofana has in the first half. He gets beat to the header, and he gets beat to the header again in this one. And I mean, I always think when you're attacking a corner, if the delivery is right, it's much easier to attack a header than it is to defend a header because you're running onto it. Whereas the defender is kind of against whatever motion you're doing. So if the delivery is right, it can be difficult to defend a header if the cross is good. Defend a set piece. But yeah, Meslier, I mean, my instant gut reaction to it is Meslier should have saved that. And I keep on watching it, hoping that I'm wrong, because he's taken a header from about 8 yards out. And I normally you would then think, keeper can't be to blame for that. But it feels like he gets lost underneath it a little bit. And it floats over him. It wasn't a bullet header. I don't know.
Yeah.
It felt to me
kind of looping, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt to me like a top class keeper would have saved it. I would have expected De Gea to save that, and I'm not saying Meslier should be pulling off the saves of De Gea, but I think a top quality keeper, Martinez. I could even see somebody like Jordan Pickford saving that. You know, agility, quick, tip it over the bar. So I were a little bit disappointed that it felt like he got it all wrong.
Yeah. Well, what's he doing coming off? Because he's kind of in between. Is he in between kind of going out to catch it or standing on his line? Or
it's a weird one. He wasn't even under any pressure either. You know, there were no players around him, nothing. No. So I feel like it's harsh to blame him for a header from 8 yards out for the keeper then not saving it. But it felt like when I was watching it as if he should have done better. So yeah, really, really, really disappointing, because like you say, it weren't one of the opportunities where they carved us open. They had a couple of good moments where they really, threatened or should have done better. Havertz had a really good chance in the first half that Meslier saved really well, actually. I don't know if you saw that. Spread himself really, really well. Yeah. A typical quality Meslier save, actually, where he comes out and spreads himself really wide and got a hand to it. So, we probably should have been 1-0 down by that point, I guess, if I'm looking at that chance. That was a through one-on-one chance. But yeah, disappointed to concede like that. Nothing else you can say, is there really, about it?
And then kind of going forward from that, from what I saw, then really watching it, just seemed the usual kind of, moving the ball around pretty well, getting to that final third, and then just absolutely not having the final product.
Puff and puff, innit?
Any way, shape, or form. Whether it's Jack Harrison on the wing. I mean, that one bit, I don't know, it was like 75th minute or whenever it was, and we're playing some smart passes, and he's in loads of room, and there's men, bombing on to get into the box, and he smashes the cross 500 yards into the stand, and you just, at that point, you're pulling your hair out. You're going, oh, well, forget it.
He did it.
Right? What is the point in having good build-up play, holding the possession, making the runs, doing all those parts right, and then you get to that pass, that cross, and you just know it's not going to happen. What I'm watching with Jack Harrison now is I have no faith that he's going to get a ball right.
He did it not long after as well, when I think it was one of the Jorginho chances, I think it was, where Jorginho? Ayling brought it down and kind of outside of the foot volleyed it back across, but in the build-up to that, it kind of was ignored because Ayling was there. Jack Harrison smashed another cross all the way to the back post, and he was just lucky that Ayling were there. It wasn't. Wasn't the intention. Ever since his failed move to Leicester, his performances have just declined and declined and declined. It wouldn't be anywhere near first team for me at the moment. Sorry, the starting squad, but obviously not first team. I just think everything in the approach play was okay. It wasn't bad, but it was like we got to the edge of the box and then we just have no real guile or a surgeon to put the ball in the net. Jorginho had a really good chance. Should he do better? Probably. Do we get a bit unlucky? Probably. Koulibaly accidentally gets in the way of it, I think. More than him actually pulling off a good block. Came across to him and Jorginho right foots it. It's a bit of a scuff, but I think if it goes past Koulibaly, it probably goes in. That would probably his best chance. There were a couple of moments in the first half where they were just so close to being really good opportunity. Brendan Aronson, Jorginho knocked it down for him on the edge of the box, and Aronson came onto it first time and hit it, and it was well blocked. But if it hadn't been blocked again, it was going to be a real threatening shot on goal. But I don't know. I don't know what to say, Brownie. I don't think we can be too disappointed with the performance, but yet again, we come away from a match where we should have been taking points with none.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, this forward line that we have, we're relying on that. That is the part of the squad where you looked at and went, oh, that we're in good hands there because we've got 6 or 7 options up top. But then when you look at the performances and you look against Fulham and it's just so blunt, you know, you look at our goal against Southampton and it's a kind of a mishit from the left back to get you your
with
goal.
His right foot.
Without that, we've only beaten Southampton in the Premier League since November, and you're looking at it going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because I'm just looking at it thinking we just cannot score. We don't look like scoring. I mean, just some of the decision making. For me, it's not even, you're not even getting 50% wrong. You're not even getting 75% wrong. It's 100% decision
it is
wrong in the final third. Every decision they make in the final third is wrong. You think, this is bonkers. Like, surely
even Nonto in the second half, he played one into Jack Harrison like underneath his feet. Some of them were going ballistic at him. I agree. And there were another opportunity where Nonto had an opportunity to shoot and he didn't take it. Took it on a couple of too many touches. Somerville had another opportunity where he did exactly the same, and it's like, just once get it right, just once, and then he's had a chance of scoring.
Just once get it right.
You know what? There's a lot to be said for a striker that is just good in and around the 6-yard box, and that is what we don't have in build-up. We have it with Bamford when he's playing some of his better stuff. Like I say, I still think you can tell that he's been injured. His whole game has been suffering. It's not been what it normally is recently. And Jorginho, I'm sure, will come, but whether he's actually going to be an out-and-out number 9 or not is another question.
He's not a goal scorer. He don't look a goal scorer.
You can tell he's not.
I don't want to be harsh on him. I don't want to be harsh on him. I think there's some really good aspects to his play from what we see. You can just tell he is not a natural finisher.
He's an inside forward.
The best chance he's had was with his head against Fulham. That chance, you saw it in the first game when he was playing against Accrington, and he was like 10 yards out. He blasted it wide. You just thought, this guy's not a natural finisher.
Yeah.
They're hard to come across. They are hard to come across.
They are, but they don't always have to be that flashy.
No.
You know what I mean? They don't. Exactly. You look over the years, I'm picking out some names off the top of my head, but players like Teddy Sheringham, you know what I mean? There's an example of a player that is just predatory in and around that area of the pitch. And what he does in the team is put the ball in the net. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what we're really missing. Dean
Should we sign Danny Ings?
Danny Ings is another one that is exactly like, the problem with Danny Ings is, and the reason why I don't think he'd have been right is I think he'd have ended up being injured too much.
Yeah, definitely.
We've already seen that at West Ham. So, but yeah, he's the kind of player that I'm talking about.
But the thing is, people are saying about Rodrigo coming back, but the problem is, that is a bad injury. He's going to have been out for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Are we really saying he's going to come back in and just straight away he's going to be back at the level? He isn't.
And not a single Leeds fan
at that level again.
Not a single Leeds fan would have had him starting as a number 9 before this season started. Not a single one of them would have been like, yeah, we've got faith in Rodrigo getting us 15, 20 goals this season. No way. No chance.
What does Gracia do about this, though? Because what can you do about the final decision? Like, how do you help them make the right final decision? I mean, I don't know what he can do with Jack Harrison, who's spooning crosses into the stand, other than not pick him. I don't know what is he meant to do? Because you can say, well, working on attacking patterns and all this, and I feel like we are making some nice moves. We're setting up some nice plays, but it's just, I don't know what you're meant to do. Like, you can't get on the pitch and do it for them.
No, and I think we defended well today as well. Like, I think you're going to concede chances against Chelsea away from home. That's a fact. They've got so much good attacking talent. They're going to make chances. So I think overall, we played, again, well today. You could see the structure. You could see what the idea was. We were still in the last minutes where Meslier has a chance with the last touch of the ball, pretty much, where we could have equalised. Now, that wouldn't have been the case under Jesse Marsh. It wouldn't have been. We would not still have been in that game. I think the long and short of what Gracia can do now is hope that through, tactical structure and, getting it right, tactically against some of the lesser teams that we're going to still come up against, he wins all them games, and we get enough of the goals like we did against Southampton to carry us through. Because we're not going to all of a sudden just start taking advantage of this XG that we're creating. We're not, because we haven't got the players in and around the area that have got the composure and the right technique to put the ball in the back of the net. It's the hardest thing to do, and that's why strikers get paid the most money. Yeah, so I think it's got to the point now where we must win all the winnable games. We can't have any slip-ups.
No, absolutely not. Please, if you're watching the video, do give us a like. Let us know your comments as well. Get your comments in. What did you think of today's game? Where is our season heading? How do we solve this crisis in the last third where we just can't make the right decision? Please get in touch. I mean, it could have been a terrible day, Jason. I mean, Bournemouth.
I celebrated the Reece Nelson goal, mate. I celebrated it like a Leeds goal. I switched over after Leeds game. I was watching that, and I mean, Wolves.
That could have been a really bad day.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, to be honest with you, I've said since Lopetegui came into Wolves that Wolves won't be part of it, and they kept on slipping back up and falling into it. But I just think it was because their start of the season was so bad that they've had to pick out of it. For me, they were never really a problem. So the fact that they've won today don't really bother me. The two teams that play tomorrow and the teams that are in there plus Palace, I think are the teams that, you know, we need to be looking at. So overall, today was good. I think, do West Ham make a change with Moyes? That's going to be...
Winning 4-0 one week and then getting smashed 4-0 the next week. I mean, looking at it now, Southampton are beating Leicester. So that means Southampton. So Southampton, they've got that 20-point mark now. They'll be on 21 points if they win that. Leicester, a couple of points ahead of us. I mean, it's...
Does that put us in bottom three?
No. So it's Everton, Southampton and Bournemouth bottom three, but Southampton come off the bottom.
Right,
you know, with a point above the bottom three. You know, it's not even like Watford and Norwich last year where they were just dead and buried and out of it by about 10 points. It's like
Leicester are a funny one. Leicester are a funny one, Brandy, because they've kind of said, right, we're with Rodgers now. Like, they had their opportunity to sack him when it was going really bad. They've kind of said, no, we're sticking with him. So where they find themselves, because they're struggling, they're really struggling. That's our only saving grace, really.
Yeah.
You know my thought on it. I said to you what I thought. And, you know, days like today, our season won't be defined by the fact that we've lost 1-0 to Chelsea, but it's the same feelings that we're coming out of after every single result. And some of these have to go for us like they do for other teams. You know, Southampton beat Chelsea 1-0. At Stamford Bridge only 2 weeks ago.
Well, it feels for me like that Southampton result last weekend, that was the bare minimum that we had to do. And we did it. Somehow we did it, you know, and it's not that convincing really, you know, in terms of the overall picture of it. And I just look at how limp we are in that final third. I mean, I went on... I was watching an Everton YouTube channel the other day, and they were talking about, and they were really disparaging about Leeds. Well, Leeds are the worst team we played, and
Southampton fans were doing the same.
Yeah, Leeds are terrible. They're like, you know, they're certainly Everton are better than Leeds. Was in their mind, obviously, because they were much better than us in that game, or better, or good enough to beat us.
Yeah.
And then I bit back. I was like, well, no, look, you know, we've got a new man in charge. Look at our attack. Look at our players. Look at how many wingers and forwards we've got. We're going to be fine. And then I watch it today, and you watch it against Fulham. He's going, man, we need to get a grip of this. We need to get a grip of this. I mean, if we do go down, it's a travesty with that squad for me. But then, you know, it makes you question everything, because then you look at the players, you go, these guys that we lift them up and we think, oh, it's much, you know, it's much better than a relegation dogfight. And then you go, well, is it?
Is it? Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? You know, like when sometimes for teams like Norwich and Watford and, you know, West Brom, these teams that come up and down, they look at the team and they're expecting them to be in the bottom three and anything else is a bonus. We're kind of not in that mindset because of first season under Bielsa, and we think of some of these players and we probably overinflate them to a higher standard than maybe what they are, but we only do that because we believe we've seen enough from them, from one season or a game or a few games, we've seen enough to think that they can finish 13th, 12th in the Premier League. So, I don't think it's a bad thing to have standards and to drive for more than finishing bottom 3 and anything else is a bonus. I don't think that is a bad thing. But yeah, you might be right. It might be a case that we have to kind of come to terms with the fact that we're not as good as maybe what we think we are. I don't know.
No, I mean, when you saw even Nonto, like misplacing a pass and hitting it behind the player and stuff, and then that makes you worry because you go, well, this is one of the few guys recently who's been on it most of the time. I feel like there's a real lack of trust in the forward line to make the right decision. And do you know, with Rutter, I feel sorry for Rutter as well, because you look at his situation, he's 20, he's been brought over from Germany where he didn't score goals. He didn't score a lot of goals. It's potential. It's a big fee. It's annoying, if it was 20 million or 25 million even, where it's not your record fee and all that, the extra pressure that brings with it. And now it's like, well, your 2 forwards are injured, so you're in up front. That possibly isn't even your best situation. I mean, some of the, but you know what though? I mean, some of the passes he got from Jack Harrison today, just didn't give him a chance.
Yeah, not giving him a chance. You know what? A big thing, Branny. This is a young squad, a really, really young squad, and experience. While sometimes they may have to give up a little bit in talent or speed of legs and acceleration, whatever.
Yeah,
you can't buy experience, and right now we're really missing experience. We're looking at players like Tyler Adams, who's 23, to lead us, and Tyler is absolutely a leader. He is, but we are looking at players like Tyler Adams, Jack Harrison, who's not a captain, he's not a leader. No. We were looking at these players to deal with these situations and grab a hold of a game. And that is something that we are missing through Rodrigo. Because I do think Rodrigo really grabs hold of that kind of captain's armband, especially when he is made captain. I think he thrives off that and leads players like Nonto, Somerville. You can tell that they're missing some direction at times. Just calm down, relax. Even players that are further back that we're looking at, Verber and Koch, they're only, I think Verber's
20,
25, 26.
25, yeah.
You're looking at Ayling, aren't you? Ayling is really the only experienced member of that whole starting 11 today. And that's a concern when you're in the trenches. They're not used to it. Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Verber, they all come, Firpo, they all come from backgrounds where they're used to winning week in, week out. In whatever league, whatever circumstance they found themselves in, that is the truth. When it goes like this, you need people. You can see the disappointment when they concede. Arms are getting thrown up, and whereas teams like these teams that do survive, that probably have way less talent in their squads, they have experience and leadership to be able to drag them through that. Teams over the years which have survived when they really shouldn't do. I think of Southampton like that. And I know they've still got some players, and I think they will go down. I think they've got the least talent in that squad. But you look through that squad and they have got players like Stuart Armstrong, Shea Adams, Ward Prowess. They've got players through the squad that can probably say, calm down, relax, it's fine. We're okay, we can deal with this, we can do this. I look at our team sometimes and just think we need to just relax.
Yeah.
We're still in this game. I was saying to myself for the last 20 minutes, there's something in this for us. Yeah. And all they needed to do was just slow it down and just make that chance.
Because the approach play and everything is just, spot on most of the time, like against Fulham. But if you can't put the ball in the back of the net, if you can't make the final pass, you forget about it. I was trying to think, actually, I was like, this combined with last season, I can't remember us winning so few games, because even when we got relegated in the past, at least the next season, generally, you're winning games because you're obviously in a lower league. I was trying to think, obviously we had so many bad seasons in the Championship that just leveled off. But God, how many?
The 2 seasons in the Premier League,
getting defeated all the time. We're just losing so many games.
The season we got relegated and the season before is probably the last time it was something like this.
Yeah,
if you remember, we stayed up against Arsenal 2003, I think it was.
Yeah,
and then the season after we got relegated and we finished bottom that year, didn't we? So it was similar. It's a similar kind of.
You could argue we had, when you look at the characters in that team as well, like Viduka and Smith, and you had Batty still on the fringes. You had big characters, big personalities some of that leadership you're talking about, and we still managed to go down the next season.
I think the thing with that team though, Brownie, and what was going on behind the scenes there was the problem.
Yeah,
we can't analyze 25 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it is now. But no, you're right. It's a good
just point. In that terms of the feeling of just week in, week out, another loss to take. I mean, it's just demoralising, isn't it? It just really is.
We've got used to winning, haven't we? If we're truthful, under Bielsa, first season of Premier League, we have got used to winning more than we lose. And the fact is in the Premier League, especially when you're in the bottom half, you lose a lot of games. You do lose a lot of games.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're looking. I mean, we're up to 13 losses for the season now. You know, it's just it's crazy, and it's March, and we've already lost 13 games, and we're I mean, I can't believe we're in this position again. Really, I just think. I mean, look, we ain't got time to rake over everything, but just going forward, today I'm a little bit concerned today. I think this and the Fulham game, because I'm just looking at that forward line, I'm just thinking the structure's now, better. I think it makes more sense. It makes more sense. The team, the setup, defensively, we look better, but I just don't know what you meant to do. But I mean, there's a lot of games left for it to click. But
in the summer, Jesse Marsh even said we need 2 strikers, and we went into the start of the season with no new strikers. And this ain't the be all and end all of why we are where we are, but it's a huge part of it. It's at least 50%. If we'd have signed a striker that could have scored us 5 or 10 more goals than what we have done, we would have turned at least 6 of them 13 losses into a draw or a win. We would have done. That's how I see it. And some of that would have been under Marsh as well. Marsh might still have been here. This team, I sometimes do feel he's a good number 9 away from, just claiming a few more points. More points.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you made a good point earlier about we're almost back to the Bamford thing, aren't we? We're a better team when he's in, and then but he can't finish his dinner either.
I don't think we missed the way that he is at the moment today. I don't think that was the and I don't want to seem like I'm bashing Jorginho either, because I thought overall he did okay considering, but we've said it before, he wasn't the right player for that position that we needed right now.
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it, because I just think he's on a hiding to nothing, really, because when you're playing up front and you don't score, and
it says it all, Brownie, that we're bringing on Matteo Joseph with half an hour to go to replace him for his second appearance in the Premier League away at Stamford Bridge, 1-0 down. That tells you everything. And again, I'm not slighting him. I think he'll be a good player. He's got bags of potential, but
you didn't expect him to make an impact, did you?
No,
I mean, did he touch the ball? I don't even know.
He had one half chance that kind of drove towards near post at the end, but that's not his fault. He right now, along with Sonny Perkins, is the best options we've got, and that's wrong. It's just not right. I'm
gonna say, what do you think of? I know Greenwood came on and he hit his first corner, didn't pass the first man, which Christ, if there's one reason he's playing, it's for his set pieces. But I mean, do you think you look at bringing someone like a Greenwood in maybe early, or even from the start, someone who can put a set piece in? That probably maybe 60-70% of the time you might get a chance from it, because his delivery compared to the rest of them is far exceeds it. I mean, do you start looking at these factors and say, look, we need to play the percentages here?
Sam Greenwood's probably one of our better technical players at striking the ball. And if Rodrigo's injured and I had to line up our 3 best finishers, I'd say Sam Greenwood's probably in them from what I've seen at under 23 level. And I know he can finish. I know he can strike a ball. I don't know whether I'd want him leading line for us. Not really. But I understand your question. I mean, there's an argument to say that he probably would be more experienced and better placed to start up front for us right now and start Rutter on one of the wings, and the other position goes to Somerville or Nonto, and Jack Harrison goes to the bench. Like, there is an argument for that, because I think we've seen enough of Jorginho to see that he's not scared of taking a player on. He's strong, he's quick, but I think his best work is going to come from the right.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe he'll develop into a winger that can bang loads of goals in. Like Salah's a great example of that. Like Salah is not a number 9 at all. He can't play that role of a number 9. He plays on the wing, comes in on his left foot. And before he spelled at Liverpool, he weren't banging goals away for fun. I actually don't think, this is going to sound awful, people would come at me like crazy for this. I don't think he's a great finisher, Salah. I think quite often he'll whip the odd one in, but he misses loads of chances as well, does Salah.
Yeah.
It's quantity. He gets into the positions constantly to have all the chances that he has. And Rutter might develop into that, but he's not a 9. He's not a player that's going to bring in and just not.
It's not going to happen, is it? No.
I don't think so, anyway. I doubt it.
Where do we go from here then? It's Brighton next. I mean...
It's at home. No, we're away, aren't we?
I think it's home. Yeah, it's home. Home against... No, it's at home. Yeah, no, we lost... no, we were away last time.
Did we lose 1-0 away?
Yeah.
1-0? Okay.
So, obviously they've just smashed West Ham 4-0. They're
a good side.
Sleek team out there. Everything works. And, it's annoying because in myself, through the week, that optimism builds up and you think, well, today is going to be the day. But I'm sick of thinking that now. I'm thinking I just need to forget about football for the entire week and just see what happens because...
Easy said than done, isn't it?
It's just disappointing. It's just really disappointing.
I think the home games under Gracia are going to be huge because I believe the fans are right behind him. And I don't think it matters who we're playing. I think we have to try and pick some points up at home, regardless of whether it's Arsenal, Chelsea, whoever. It don't matter. We have to be targeting them games between now and the end of the season and hope that there's 3 teams worse than us and then hope that we do something in the summer to make sure that we're not in this position again. I think it's a complete shootout, mate, and I think it'll be ups and downs and twists and turns. It'll be exactly the same as last season all over again without Rafinha. I like last season we go down without him, don't we? We go down without him because he's the player last season that were making sure the ball went in the back of the net. When this season we don't have that. That's the difference.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I think that's the nail on the head. Absolutely. That's what saved us last year, and that's what did for it. I mean, you look at Wolves, and Wolves have won today, and they've just ticked over nicely. They've picked up wins every now and then, and look at them now. They're on 20, 27 points now. They're well out of it. So
they're too good to go down. As simple as that. Like they have quality all over the pitch for me. I can't believe they ever found themselves in that kind of position. I think there's underlying factors at Leicester that can keep them in and around it. Bournemouth, Southampton, Everton, I think will be real close with whoever does stay up. I think Palace a dark horse for getting dragged into it. I'm not a big fan of Vieira as a manager. I'm not. I've never really got it. He changed the ethos there, and fans were happy because it just weren't the boring Hodgson ball anymore. But they actually got less points than under Hodgson. So I think it's a bit of a myth as a manager. Yeah. So I think they'll be in and around.
We just need to flip him win, don't we? We just need a couple of games.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it, mate? It would be nice.
I just have no faith in us actually winning a game of football at the minute. I just have no faith in us doing it. I know we beat Southampton last week, but when you look at the context of it, you're left thinking, well, what are we meant to do here? Anyway,
it's a bare minimum, isn't it? With a bare minimum.
Bare minimum. Final thoughts then, Jason. What do you think? What is the week going to be like? I mean, what frame of mind are the players, the squad going to be in? Gracia, what do you think he's thinking of it all now?
I don't think Gracia will be worried. Like I said, in the context of things, Chelsea away is always a tough game. They're on a bad run, but it's still a tough place to go. They've still got bags of ability. And it felt to me like two teams that were dealing with the same problem, struggling to put the ball in the back of the net. It was there for us to take something out of it, and we didn't. I think Gracia will be happy with a lot of what he did see. I thought Tyler Adams today was brilliant, even though I said last week he maybe could have done with the rest. I thought it was excellent today. I thought Firpo again was excellent. I think for Gracia, the make or break will be getting some goals from midfield and getting the most out of the 4 players that could potentially play in them 3 roles in centre midfield, Rocker, Adams, McKennie and Aronson, I still think that there's more to come from Weston McKennie. And I think if he can somehow find a solution to get more out of that area of the pitch, we'll be able to start scoring more goals. Because he ain't going to come from a number 9. We ain't got one. Until Rodrigo gets back, Bamford's not going to be what he was. Rutter's not a number 9. So the goals have got to come from somewhere. So I think that's where they'll look at. And I think, for the players, I think, unfortunately, they're going to start getting used to losing. He starts hurting less. And confidence goes down and, the manager changes and the results stay the same. A 1-0 win at home at Southampton ain't going to just flip that overnight. We've got to start putting a string of results together. If we can go, to Ellen Road next weekend and beat Brighton at home, that'll have the tails up because they're a proper side.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Do you see it happening? Could it happen? How does it happen? Just feels like we've got to really be on it, If we're more clinical, if we're still defensively sound.
I agree. I think Gracia's got enough in his arsenal to pick up points against teams that we maybe would think on the face of it we won't be able to. And I'd include Brighton in that. Brighton have dropped points in games that you wouldn't have expected them to as well. Yeah. Of course we can. At home, I think we always stand a chance against anyone to get something out of it because I think the fans and the players drag themselves over the line with it. But the points have got to start coming from somewhere, mate. I won't bet on it.
No,
I won't bet on us beating Brighton at home, but we have got to start picking points up. Tomorrow, more than likely, we'll find ourselves in bottom 3. Or we'll be even more cut adrift from some of the sides that we could catch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tomorrow's game, while it's a bit of a 6-pointer and there's pros and cons to both, it's going to feel a little bit crap because one way or another we're going to be looking at it negatively, I think. So, yeah, massive game next week. I mean, they're all massive, aren't they?
Just that pressure, isn't it? Every single one at the minute, absolutely.
Cooking up.
Southampton have beaten Leicester.
Wow.
So Southampton, Everton and Bournemouth, the bottom 3 on 21 points. Leeds on 22 points. West Ham, Leicester on 23 and 24 respectively. And then Forest pitched at 25. So
I cannot believe West Ham are in and around it. I cannot believe that team is in and around it.
No,
I mean, as bad as it can feel for us,
they must be scratching their heads thinking just how
they've got quality all through that side. They've got goals all through that side.
Yeah,
they've got some monster players. They're a bit weak maybe at centre back, and I know they've had a couple of injuries back there. But yeah, how they find themselves? Are they behind us in the league? I think they are, aren't they? I think they're 18th. West Ham.
Good question. Let's have a
I'm
look.
sure West Ham were behind us at the beginning of today.
I think, no, they're they're on 23 points. They've got one point more than us.
Let me have a quick look at the table.
The goal difference is good for us. The goal difference is something, I mean, I know Leicester and West Ham got a better goal difference than us, but at least it's better than the bottom 3. But yeah, it's just, it's horrible. It's horrible. Please, if we do stay up this season, can we not do this next year? Can we please not do this next year?
I dream. I mean, the thing is, the real place of frustration for me comes from some of the games that we've not won or taken points in this season against some of these teams. We should have beaten West Ham. We should have beaten Everton at home. We didn't turn up against Everton away. We should have taken another 2 points against Southampton away. Like, it just goes on. Leicester, like, it goes on.
Aston Villa when they were rubbish.
Aston Villa when they were rubbish. Yeah, like Forest away even. Like, I look at all these teams in and around and I just think it over and over and over again. And it's just demoralising. Palace. We lost to Palace away, didn't we?
Yeah. It was one of them again. We took the lead, didn't we, as well?
Yeah, took the lead, lost 2-1, didn't we?
And then we didn't turn up second half, which story of the season, really. Story of the season. And, we have to go again, don't we? I was really hoping, what I was really dreaming of under Gracia was he'd come in and, maybe you win 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5, or something like that, and it just gets you out of it. Just gets you out of it, and you don't even have to worry about it, and you end up finishing in 14th or something. But it's Leeds, isn't it? So
the problem as well, though, is, Branny, and I said this to you a few weeks ago, is that regardless of where we think we should be, we are one of the worst 6 or 7 teams in the league. So given the fact that we've now found ourselves in this position, getting us out of this position involves us overperforming to the tune of being one of the best 7 teams in the league for the last 13 games. So the fact that we're not that, even if Gracia gets us to perform like a team that should finish 14th, we're already in the muck.
Yeah.
So do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it becomes even doubly more difficult. That's why we were so frustrated with how long it took the board to first sack Marsh and then replace him. I still hark back to the 3 games that we played under Scabala. It still is infuriating me even now because, again, today, would we have been more ready for today's game if Gracia had been, boom, the appointment straight away? Yes,
exactly.
we would. So...
there's the international break, isn't there, coming up soon, I think, in a couple of weeks or something. So it gives him a bit of extra time on the training pitch and you know, because it's been a pretty quick start for him, hasn't it, with the FA Cup as well. But yeah, we'll wait and see. We battle on again and see where we're at next week, mate.
Keep dreaming, mate. Keep dreaming, don't we? I hope it kills us.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. If you've been watching, please smash a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel for more Leeds United content. If you want to be bothered with that, I'm not sure.
It'll be positive eventually. At some point, even if it's next season and we're battling for playoffs, it'll be positive eventually.
Exactly. Anyways, Jason, thank you very much for joining us, mate. I'll be
Thank you, mate.
And we'll be back again in the future. Thank you.